I'm Leslie Cornwell, certified nurse midwife with Midwifery Business Consultation. Heidi and Kristen are one of our longer term consulting clients. Deidre and I have had the pleasure of supporting them the last couple of years. We're getting more of our current consulting clients to just kind of do shorter testimonials, stories, because we feel it has a massive impact. Hearing directly from them how business consulting supported them, because it is a newer concept. There's a few companies doing it and there's immense value to it that sometimes we just don't recognize what we don't know. So thank you, Heidi and Kristen, for joining me today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when I actually started this practice coming from another home birth practice, so I did have experience with being a midwife outside the hospital, but I did not have any business experience. And as I was taking this leap, some of my nurse colleagues who were going to be working with me really encouraged me to reach out to you, Deidre. I think they may have seen Facebook ads or something like that. And they said, you should just check out this, business consultant because it's specific to midwifery practice. And I was like, yeah, great, because I don't know what I'm doing. And
well, that was the only thing that prevented you from starting a home birth business for a while.
In the first place was that I didn't know the business end, and reached out and did I think it was like a 15-minute
discovery call. Yep, we do those.
Introductory kind of call. And by the end of that call, I was like, yep, this is going to be worth the money. I can tell. And, I will say too that, business consultant isn't free and it shouldn't be. But that was definitely like initially I was like, whoa, I'm like at the beginning of this process. I don't have a lot of money to put in. And it felt like I had about a minute of like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. Can I make this work? And then I was like, you know what? I'm putting it on a credit card. I don't care. I don't know what I'm doing. They clearly know what they're doing. And it's going to be worth it. I just knew it. And so
kind of like when you tell a mom when she's in labor and she's scared and you're like, I know you're scared, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Like Deidre and Leslie are
they
I'm
weren't
not
scared.
Right.
They were like, you can do this. And I was like, okay. And signed on with you guys, I think initially I can't remember if it was a certain number of
I think we did initially some consulting. A lot of people will do in stages because budgets, I mean, that's a big stigma. People say, I know the value is there, but I can't afford 2,000, 5,000, 7,000, depending on what they're doing. Some of our ladies are even 15, 20 if it's a bigger birth center, high scale thing. But we always reinforce to you, like we could take it in baby steps. So a lot of our ladies will do a few hours of consulting, get the business plan made. Then once they get their SBA loan, their partnership, the things we teach you, and then we switch to phase 2 of implementing your business plan. It's usually a bigger ticket item. And then once you get going, you guys are in that maintenance level now. So if you want to talk about that process a bit.
Yeah. So whatever it was I, bought first, it was insanely valuable. Just to have you guys who already know how this process works, know what I need to do, and to be able to map it out for me in really easy to follow instructions was incredible. It was really, really incredible. So me who knew nothing could meet with you or Deidre and say, okay, what's on your mind? And you guys always kind of put it to me first, like, what did I have on my list to talk about? Questions, concerns, like that, and address that. And then be like, hey, have you thought about this? Have you done this yet? And be able to kind of like hold my hand and get me through this process, kind of just step by step, was so helpful. And then on top of that, the resources that you brought with you to my practice that I didn't have to figure out, I told you when I was first starting, I was like, I think I'm just going to do cash pay and I'm not going to take insurance because insurance sounds really overwhelming and scary. And I don't know how to bill and I don't know how to find a biller. And it just feels like too much. And you're like, you might want to consider taking insurance, and here's some resources for billers. And
that in itself paid.
That in itself, yeah, absolutely. You connecting me with a good biller who knows what she's doing, knows how to get, really good reimbursements from insurance, has completely opened up my practice for
opportunities. Because it's the linchpin. Cash families can only max out so much. The insurance companies, if you know how to play the game, like people, that's the average challenge is most home birth midwives only budget of like, okay, we're doing cash 3,000, 6,000, 4,000, and that's it. Like you can't push that because of the consumer expectations or whatever. But with the insurance world, like there's just, I'm so grateful because it's always that mental block. I remember exactly our conversation where you were like, I'm I'm doing cash because billing is evil, because that's what most midwives say. And I said,
Yeah.
well, let's challenge your mindset
Billing is evil.
Yeah, billing's evil. Like, we're just, because that's what most midwives think. They think, oh, this is a more immoral, corrupt. That just makes us medicalize whatever stigma and bias you put. But part of the consulting package is not just teaching you business, but shifting your mind to think like a business owner, the systems, return on investment versus self-employed of time. And I have to do everything. So you guys have just grown so much over the last 2 years.
Yeah. And already, it was very fast. I mean, I did come from my previous practice with some,
She's an
clientele
awesome midwife,
already.
and she already had plenty of people that love
I
her.
did.
That makes a difference with a big following. Yes.
Yeah, I did have, you know, a base of a customer base, which was fantastic. But even since, you know, leaving and getting things going, it's just
We're booked.
more and more and more. You know, we book up as soon as people are pregnant. You know,
they pee in the stick and they call us.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Getting the calls come in so early. And, you know, I have those moments too, like where it's like, oh my gosh, people are already getting pregnant for January and not enough calls have come in yet. And then like, I wait
You
a
get
couple
3 in a day, you'll start panicking for a week. And
yeah. And then you're like, oh, okay, no, people are still calling and it's fine, you know? And one of the greatest things that I'm really thankful for is that the biller you connected us with is getting great out of network rates from Medicaid. And so we can really serve people who could not otherwise afford.
Like
to
the
have
people we want to hit
hospital
anybody.
birth.
The people that are like needing midwifery care the most too, you know,
are able to access that. And that feels really, really good to be able to do that.
I also like that you give us example of, because I'm the policy writing human, of all of the business paperwork. Like that's super overwhelming and daunting. And the fact that we have all of these like starting documents that we can just change to our name and like change it the way we need to.
Reinvent the wheel in terms of the
all
of
of
that
it.
administrative.
I don't think they'll get it either. I mean, you're talking like hundreds.
There's about 500 documents when you pick the package you guys did, and people get a little nervous. They're like, oh, that's $5,000. And I'm like, well, if you break up each policy, you're paying like $3 to $5 each policy, and they take on average 10 to 12 hours to make. So we have hundreds and hundreds of clinical administration policies, consents, educational handouts, because the intention is not to be a consultant to teach you. We know you're short on time. We want to accelerate your success process.
We just want to do midwifery.
We just want to do
and there's no good way for us to reinforce when people see those proposal packages and a number. I'm like, people are not getting it until they actually take the leap of faith and open up the documents you get. Like, holy cow, I just got a ton of value.
I had to like thin them out because like a lot of it's like it's birth center or home birth. So I'm like, okay, so these don't apply because we have home birth, right?
You can save them for later. I mean, the intention was for you to delete things versus I'm missing this.
Exactly. So it's like we can, but that's what I mean is that it's customizable, right? Where we can like, this is what we need. This is what we need. This is what we need.
Yeah.
So it's a little easier in that way.
Yeah. So it's really has been an amazing experience working with you and Deidre, and also your flexibility and availability. And when things have come up suddenly that have been surprises that we're like, what do we do?
And we can call you.
Call Deidre.
We can call you.
They'll tell us what to do.
Yep.
So there's different levels of consulting support. There's the planning and prepping, but the maintenance side, I mean, our goal is that you always should have a business consultant on your team. There's they're vital stages of growth and expansion and maintenance, and what if stuff comes up you've never experienced. So I know that you guys have had some kind of unexpected last minute things that a lot of midwives we get calls about, and we can help you in a few days, if not 24, 48 hours. We try really hard to, okay, this is a unique situation. You're actually struggling. There's a bad outcome. We do peer reviews. Like, we can be your objective mentor, like whatever you want for business consulting support, because they're all important. We don't want you to get burnout. We don't want you to have trauma. That's part of being a successful business owner. So I love that you guys have just, I want you guys and a few other of our clients to be the poster childs of what it can be because I think it'll be a ripple effect. That's why we've grown our team from Deidre and I to now 7 of us, because I think once more more people understand the momentum. We have a lot of people with subset specialties. So Nita Hernandez owns a successful birth center in Texas, and so she does small scale birth centers. I do large scale birth centers now. Deidre DeGrotto does all of our home birth gals. Kristen Hayward, who's been a long-term consulting client of mine, now does women's health clinics. Shantae Hawkins does nonprofits, grants, foundation work. And then Mandy Froelich is an independent financial planner that just had her first baby with the only birth center in South Dakota, and is an alternative like Reiki practitioner before becoming a financial planner. So we've been really getting these cool people, because like example you had brought up, it's not just what we teach you, it's who we connect you with. Like I just spent 8 hours on Monday interviewing and demoing with a ton of EHR systems. So I'm going to compile all the data so that you don't have to do all that, and you can accelerate your success, because we're going to narrow down decision making, because you don't have to spend hours interviewing lawyers, accountants, financial planners, because we did all that for you in the backdrop. So
isn't that that's where you learned where Mobile Midwife was from, right? Was from them?
I think I was aware of it before.
I think, and Deidre had used their system, but that's part of that decision. What are the EHR systems designed for midwives? What's the pros and cons versus the bigger traditional medical ones? So, I mean, the whole point is we want to handhold you through the implementation, the business planning, the little nitty gritty things that could take you 6-8 hours versus now they just took you 5 minutes. So
it was amazing.
Right. It gives us more time to be midwives.
The fact that you guys were able to streamline this process for us so much was really invaluable. I mean, you can't put a price tag on it. It's really been, I know we wouldn't be where we are at this point if we hadn't worked with you guys along the way to help, because like I said, I was clueless. I've never had a business before, like really, and didn't know all the steps, didn't know what needed to be done. So you don't know what you don't know.
Well, even when
you can't Google search how to start a business for midwives. Like there's not going to be these nitty gritty tips out there.
Like even when, we serendipitously decided to be partners within a couple weeks of her deciding to open this business and me leaving where I was working, having you guys help us do the partnership thing was super important too, where it's like, we can be like, oh, okay. Like we had conversations we never would have had. If we didn't have you guys,
you need to talk about this, we need to talk about that, and you need to figure out how you're going to negotiate.
What if risk reduction? Like just there's too many midwives have those conversations after they happen, and it usually ends ugly and rough because they didn't have any biases beforehand. There's a piece of paper, we both agreed to it. Now there's the heat of the moment, and there's one advantage and disadvantage happening. It usually doesn't end very well.
So just having the benefit of like your past experience, Deidre's past experience to give us without having to have that experience ourselves.
Learn from our mistakes and
exactly.
Like you've saved us a lot of time and heartache, honestly.
Absolutely.
We would not have been able to get here.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know I'm over your guys' lunch break and I'm going to let you go, but I really appreciate this. And are you guys comfortable if people have questions that we could give them your contact information if they reach out? Or just,
for sure.
I appreciate that greatly. So Deidre and I and our team absolutely love helping out midwives. I mean, our core mission and foundational work is to sustain and expand midwifery. We have to get more businesses started by midwives. Like that's a very core theme. I mean, to truly expand, hospital departments can close and give you pay cuts, and to grow and expand true midwifery, we need to have more private practices, and the midwives need that business education resources and support. So that's my passion and drive. And with having my own private practice and it crashed and burned, I learned that I don't want to have any other midwives go through what I went through. So that's why I do what I do. So thank you, ladies, for all of your time and serving your wonderful community.
Thank you.